Alright everyone, welcome to Bali, Indonesia. I'm currently in the airport wrapping up a 30-day stay of living, working and traveling around Indonesia, and next up is actually Bangkok, so I thought I'd whip out the iPhone camera with the low quality. Apologize for that, but take you guys along the journey to Bangkok while sharing some crucial insights, pros and cons, tips and tricks on how it is to live on Bali and travel around Indonesia while working remotely. But first, I gotta get through security, so I'll see you guys on the other side. Both?
What's under?
All good.
Have a good.
You too. Alright, so why am I even in Indonesia and why the heck am I heading to Bangkok? Well, I guess as a digital entrepreneur running my agency, I have the freedom to be able to work remotely from anywhere in the world that I want to. And therefore, I'm kind of on the journey to find the best place to live and work in my 20s for a longer duration of time. And therefore, throughout all the other content I'll be sharing a few travel videos like this one where I summarize each location and give a few insights, pros and cons of that location. And I guess first up is Indonesia. Alright guys, so we are here, just checked in, heading up to the room. Right, so we are checked in safe and sound into the apartment, and what an amazing city view of central Bangkok that we have. As for now though, I am going to spend 20-25 minutes on editing this video and then try and get a little bit of sleep before sunrise tomorrow and finishing this video. So I'll see you guys then. Until I find the location I want to stay at, in between all the other. All right, as you can see behind me, the sun is setting, and yeah, been a really good day, but I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about Bali and finish up this video. So first and foremost, when talking about Bali, the first principle that comes to mind that I've been thinking about ever since I have been traveling from Bali to Bangkok is the critical factor about a performance enhancing environment and creating an environment around you that actually enhances your ability to perform and get closer to those goals and ambitions that you have, right? And for me, Bali was a great experience, but the major thing being most people are actually there not to strive towards their goals, work focused and get closer to the goals and ambitions they have, but actually be on holiday. They're there to chill, to have a beer, to lay back in the sun. And that is somewhat distracting, even though we preach everything about working very deeply and being in a very focused state when working towards our goals. Having 95% of people around you surfing, recording sunsets, jazz music playing on sunset beach cafes is not actually creating an atmosphere around you that's going to make it easier for you to work towards those goals, right? So the major thing that I noticed is obviously performance enhancing environment. I know that you can get to some places in Bali where there's good co-working spaces, but the major thing I would recommend is to get to a place where you have a villa with some good friends and you work towards some goals together and separately, of course. Whereas big cities like Bangkok, they offer a lot more dynamic effect. You can see behind me the traffic's going like crazy, and things are moving here. Like when I visited Dubai for the first time, I experienced that money flows, things are happening. It's a different vibe. So the first thing is obviously recognizing that performance enhancing environment and creating an atmosphere around you that favors and actually makes it more likely for you to achieve those goals is an easy way to add an extra 50% of productivity alongside working around people who are working towards the same thing. So I was spending time with good friends, with my father, people who aren't working towards the same things and the same intensity. So you got to take it for what it actually is. And it's great for reflecting and getting a bit closer towards some longer term thoughts, analyzing on previous experiences and partnerships and moving forward. But for deep focused work, I believe there's better locations for you to harness that, where things are moving, things are less sunset vibes and sunset cocktails and these things. So that would definitely be the first point. The second point is obviously the cost of living of being in Bali. Coming from a Scandinavian country, Denmark specifically, having grown up there, cost of living is quite expensive. And comparing it to Bali is actually ridiculous to some extent. The calculations I made really told me that I could be living with gym, 3 meals a day, accommodation with room service, a pool, everything, sunbeds, good Wi-Fi, air conditioned for 6 months in Bali for the price of 1 month in Denmark. And that's an apartment in Denmark that doesn't have a pool. There's not as much sun. There's not all these amazing facilities. You have to pay for gym. You have to cook your own food. So cost of living is definitely an advantage. And you can vary. Your budget can be a lot higher if you're renting an amazing villa complex and getting your food delivered. But you can also live on a bit more of a cheaper budget and walk down and get some food at the local warangs, at the food market, where there is so amazingly good food options, which are very cheap. However, you need to watch out for the Bali belly. You obviously need to take care about the food you eat down there, which is definitely something I would consider. I spent at least like 1 or 2 weeks not 100% at my top level performance because I was like 50% sick or 70% sick and had these issues. So understand that it's a country that's developing. It's by far not a first world country like Scandinavia and probably most countries where you guys are watching the video from. So it's a big change. But people are so grateful down there. They're very, very, very friendly, and cost of living is cheap, right? So internet speeds, facilities is something that is a third point for me because internet is not as quick. You're moving around on different islands. You're looking at getting Wi-Fi speeds that are subpar compared to bigger cities that has larger satellites and better intercommunication between devices, whereas in Bali, things are quite slow and nobody really cares if the internet is a bit slow because they're there having a beer or they're there surfing, right? So for someone working remotely, you need to be very selective about the places that you pick. I spent a lot of time in Bali, in Kuta, and I also spent some time on an island called Limboganan, which is east of Bali, and even more sunset vibe and holiday and sunset cocktails and pictures of the sunset every night and just so low key. But obviously you can get some work done there, but for people working with agencies and having to take calls and work very focused, it's probably not ideal. I know there's locations in Bali that definitely favor this, but in comparison to places like Dubai and Bangkok, I'm definitely going to experience Bangkok for a longer duration of time now and give you guys my feedback on that. But Bali really is great for some things, but less great for other things. It all depends on where you are in your career or where you are with your business. Is it time for you to have a month and a half of recalibration and some dedicated reflection and downtime where you will get like 3 or 4 hours of work done a day, but you will do less deep work focused tasks, still speak with your team, speak with your clients, speak with your customers, whatever. but sacrificing a bit of that enhanced performance against gaining a bit of an advantage in your state of mind, being a lot more relaxed, being able to be on the beach. If you're in a point in your career where you need things to move a bit quicker and you need a season of more intensified work, it's not the place to be, because you'll be sitting on the beach thinking about the work that needs to be done instead of actually really using what Bali has to offer towards actually propelling you towards a better mindset, getting you prepared for that next season. So you got to realize the pros and cons. Again, a performance enhanced environment, which can go both ways, right? It's not just about productivity and moving forward and working as many hours as possible. Not at all. It's also about realizing you got to use the right tool for the right job, right? And therefore, Bali is definitely an amazing place to be. I see a lot of coaches going there, a lot of people doing yoga and things like that, which is not my lane, but I understand why it suits them very well, because it offers that lovely island life, chill dynamic that like a yoga instructor completely needs. I think if you were looking to travel and get focused work done, Bali wouldn't be the place. But if you're looking for somewhere that offers a bit more relaxation, a bit more reflection, as I've said, it's a great place to be. Cost of living is very, very cheap. I don't know quite yet how it compares to Bangkok, but I will put those things up against each other with cost of living. I have some documents from cost of living in Bali, and I'm going to compare them to my cost of living in Bangkok when I finish my stay here. But Bali is definitely somewhere that I will go back and visit for sure, guys. It's just going to be a case of doing it in the right season. I definitely got the things out of it that I needed and wanted to, which was reflection, recalibration, analyzing previous steps, gaining some clarity after a lot of intensified work throughout the second quarter and the beginning of third quarter in 2024. And now switching to the big city life offers a different vibe, and a vibe of a lot more dynamic vibe, things happening around you, things moving quickly. I'm going to be living with business owners, remote closers, sharing office spaces with them, going to the gym with them, which also offers a very clear, different dynamic compared to traveling with friends for a holiday, which aren't operating from a remote standpoint, running a business, and also family for a short period of time as well. So yeah, I think that is the main summary. Those 3 points being obviously the performance enhanced environment. Secondly, the cost of living being very, very different. And lastly, of course, that you got to look at the fact that it is very different from what you're used to. Cost of living is cheap and very good, but the facilities are different, right? Especially the Wi-Fi and connectivity. That's the third major point for me is Wi-Fi speeds. And if they aren't really that quick, no one really cares, right? Because they're on the beach, they're surfing, they're not on Zoom calls. So that was definitely a bit of a pain point for me. But life on Bali is definitely something you should consider when you have a month or two to spend. You can easily get a 60-day visa, extended even to 90 days, I think, as a tourist. But I won't be using that for my base. I'm going to be keeping an eye out for the next locations. And visa in Bali is also something, obviously, that I investigated, which there's an investment visa. The first 3 years you pay 0.5% in tax. That jumps to 20% in corporate tax after 3 years. So there's definitely some good tax legislation for digital entrepreneurs, but that doesn't really come into play for me when the environment isn't correct. I'm looking for a place where I can spend 5-6 years, intensified focus towards somewhere that has that correct balance for me. And the facilities aren't right, the environment isn't right. It's definitely correct for going there, as I've said previously, for a month or two, but not for staying there for having your base there, because then your base is going to be the more relaxed base, whereas I would like my base to be a bit more dynamic, I believe. That's at least my conclusion after visiting Bali, but I guess that's going to change as I see different locations. somewhere that has a good middle ground. But until now, I think arriving in Bangkok has been very positive. I'm gonna keep you guys updated. Keep some videos posted here and on my Instagram for you guys to follow along how the life is here day to day. I think I'm gonna do a day in the life. I think we're gonna do a bit of a obviously a video like this when I travel to the next location, which you guys will figure out later. But yeah, making this a bit of a mini series of me taking you guys along, visiting different locations, making these diaries, making these quick, detailed, summarized points top of mind, very raw, very authentic. That's the way we do things here, of course, because everything else would just be silly, right? Why even share anything that doesn't come top of mind? But those definitely the main points. I can definitely update you guys on different things. If you have any specific questions, let me know. And any specific ideas for content in Bangkok. I haven't posted on YouTube for a while because, it hasn't been a priority for me to be a YouTuber. It's a priority for me to be a business owner. And a lot of things comes up and making content and raw footage doesn't really become a priority. But it's going to be a lot easier here, I feel like. We're going to be doing a lot of content as well as just getting into some deep work. So I'll keep you guys updated. I hope that the summarized point of Bali was valuable for you if you considered Bali or have thought about it or wanted to travel a bit more. Obviously, you wanted to have your own business or be a remote worker or work digitally. And if you're interested in that, I have a video on that as well. I'll link it below and you'll find it on my YouTube channel as well. But doing a lot more YouTube content. Let me know if you guys have any suggestions. Apart from that, I'm going to be enjoying Bangkok and keeping you guys updated. So hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one.